A lot has changed in the last couple of years when it comes to language learning apps. Back then they used to be quite rudimentary, basically just offering you a chance to study your vocabulary. But nowadays the best ones use augmented reality, artificial intelligence and gamification to make sure that you keep progressing. But which of the many available apps is actually the best one and where can you get the most for free? This is what I'm gonna be covering in this video, so let's get started. And the very first app on our list is called Quizlet. Now this app already might surprise you by making it onto this list, because at first glance it seems to be very basic, simply offering flashcards to study with. But while that is definitely at the core of what Quizlet offers, there is a lot more to it. I use Quizlet every time I actually want to write down some vocabulary to study later on. So for example, I recently read a Swedish book. There were quite a few words that I did not know, so I used Quizlet to write all of them down and later on practice those words until they are in my long-term memory. All of that I created on their website, but then later on I can use the app to train with the flashcards wherever I go. And the first cool functionality that I noticed when I was writing down my vocabulary list is that Quizlet automatically suggests you certain words, including the translation. This way all I had to do was write down the Swedish word and it would auto-suggest the English translation, thereby saving me a ton of work. But hang on, it gets even better. Quizlet recognizes automatically when I fill in a duplicate. So if you have a long list of words that you want to study and you might actually repeat some words without even noticing, Quizlet will notice and will let you know. And then once you're ready to study your words, Quizlet offers a bunch of different possibilities there. Of course, you can use the flashcard in a very traditional way and then swipe either left or right depending on whether or not you know the word. But then on top of that, Quizlet also offers the opportunity to do a multiple choice test, to do a writing test, to do different games with the vocabulary such as memory. There's really almost endless opportunities here to train your brain. And I believe that this kind of variety is exactly what is needed to keep you engaged, keep you interested and keep you improving. All of this functionality of Quizlet that I have shown you is entirely for free, so in my opinion getting this app is really a no-brainer if you try to learn a new language. And by the way, another no-brainer if you're into personal development and improving yourself is subscribing to my channel, so you get more videos just like this one in the future. Moving on to the next app, and this is one that I really enjoy. It is called Memrise. Memrise is quite different to Quizlet in many ways, the main one probably being that it offers a bunch of different courses right from the get-go. So you don't have to create your own flashcards, which honestly takes quite a lot of work. Instead, you can simply follow the courses that are already available on the platform. But what is really cool with Memrise is that it also allows you to create your own courses and then also make that publicly available. I have been studying Chinese for almost 2 years now and I have been following a beginner's textbook, but I could not find any course on Memrise that offered exactly that kind of vocabulary. So I created one myself. And what I really enjoy about the techniques that Memrise uses to train you in a certain language is that they use a bunch of gamification to keep you hooked. When first learning a new word, Memrise makes you go through them again and again, equaling it to planting a seed and then watching it grow. Once the plant is fully grown, you have to regularly water the plant to make sure it doesn't die, which basically means you have to regularly repeat those words. Besides that, Memrise of course uses also the streak technique, tracking how often you log in and making you come back every day. Another thing that makes Memrise quite unique amongst the language learning apps is that they offer also video dialogues. As you can see here, it works pretty much like TikTok, so you can scroll up and down to go to the next video, making it very immersive and honestly very entertaining, while at the same time educational. Now, one downside unfortunately with Memrise is that they are quite eager to make you subscribe to their premium services. And there is quite a lot of functionality that will not be available unless you're willing to pay for it. Things like focusing specifically on difficult words, doing a speed review or also listening exercises are only available to the premium subscribers. That being said, I think it's still a great app even if you use it for free. There's a bunch of different functionality and I'm pretty sure you won't regret if you download it and give it a go. We are quickly moving on to app number 3 on our list. This one is called Duolingo. And I think it's fair to say that Duolingo is the most famous out of all the language learning apps. They have millions and millions of users every day, they offer the most languages out of all language apps, and they recently went public. So let's have a look at what the hype is all about. The first thing that probably stands out is just how slick and nice the user interface looks. What you see here is what Duolingo calls a language tree. It is super straightforward how you progress over time. You start at the very top with a very easy lesson, and then as you advance, you get more and more access to more and more lessons. Besides that, you have to do every lesson a couple of times until you have officially mastered that skill. So as you can see here, I have mastered quite a bit of the Chinese language tree already, but there are also quite a lot of lessons that I don't even have access to yet because I'm just not at that level yet. Duolingo also bets heavily on gamification of their app, and I can say from personal experience that it works really well. I have been coming back to the app every day for more than 220 days in a row now, and one of the many reasons for that is that they manage to keep it really fun and engaging. For every completed lesson you get points and you compete against your friends, but also against strangers that you are grouped together with in a league. And depending on how many points you make in a week, you get either promoted to a higher league or you can get demoted to a lower league. And I have to admit that I care about my ranking in those leagues way more than I probably should, but it has the obvious advantage that it makes me improve at my Chinese much faster than any other app could. Another reason for that is that the lessons are not made out of single vocabulary words. Instead, you get to learn full sentences, which gives you a much better feeling for the language itself. Now, all of that sounds great, but obviously there are also downsides to Duolingo. And one major one is that you have to follow their curriculum. So you can't really decide what kind of vocabulary you want to learn. Instead, you have to learn what is given to you. And you can't create your own courses either. So Duolingo really controls everything about this language learning experience from end to end. Another downside of the app is that it has quite a lot of ads if you take the free version, but there is a way to avoid those ads, and I actually made a video about it. If you're interested in that, you can check it out right up here. We are moving on to app number 4 on our list of the best language learning apps. This one is called Babbel. When first signing up with Babbel, you choose your own language, but then you also choose which language you would like to learn. And right there you can already see that it doesn't have as many options as some of the other apps that we discussed so far. That being said, it does have the most popular languages, so I'm fairly certain you will find what you're looking for there. Once you get ready with the app to start studying, you also notice that the interface looks a bit different from the one of Duolingo, for example. And personally, I'm not a big fan of how much information there is. Yes, they have different courses on different levels and then different sessions for each of those courses, but to me it was not very intuitive how to maneuver through all of that. And while you are encouraged by Babbel to review your existing vocabulary or to set and then reach weekly goals, again, I don't find the gamification aspect as well developed as in, for example, Duolingo or Memrise. After having played around with the app for quite some time and evaluating all the different functionality, the way I would judge it is that it's a relic from old times. Sure, maybe 5 years ago an app like this would have been totally sufficient. But since then a lot has happened, a lot of the apps have massively improved since then, and it seems like Babbel kinda didn't manage to keep up with that. This is not to say that it's a bad app, but personally I would say there are better apps on the market right now. But hey, again, it's an app that is free to download, so why not check it out yourself? You can make your own judgment and maybe you see things differently than I do. Meanwhile, we are moving on to the last app on our list. App number 5 is called Mondly. Now Mondly is an app that has a really cool user interface again. It's engaging, it's exciting, and it makes you want to progress on your journey. I also have to say that I really enjoy how they structure their vocabulary, because they group it together for different topics, which allows you to pick and choose whatever is most relevant to you. Really important as well is that they have a statistics app which allows you to track your progress in real time. These small things are easy to neglect, but those are exactly the reasons why people come back to one app but not to another. And another example for that is the leaderboard, both globally and in your home country, which really motivates you to work your way up there. I just really love those kind of gimmicks because I know how hard it can be to learn a new language. It can get really frustrating, it gets tough from time to time, so you need something to pull you through and make you keep going. And for that, I think Mondly is a really good option. It does seem though as if the amount of courses and the amount of vocabulary available on the app is a little bit limited, so it might be a perfect app to get started with, but then as you become intermediate or more advanced, you might want to switch to a different app to mix things up. In the end, it is of course up to you which app you prefer. I personally have made my choice. I really like Duolingo, and then in certain situations I use Quizlet. But generally I can say that with all the languages that I have learned so far, which is 4, I always appreciated the help of those online tools. Yes, of course you need to read books, and yes, of course you need to do your textbook exercises, and you should watch movies and news and all of that in the language that you want to immerse yourself in. But one piece of the puzzle, and a quite important one, is also which language learning app you choose to use. And I hope that with this video I could give you some guidance on that question. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.